So, just heading to Belleville to visit with my brother for a little bit. Haven't seen him in a while, and it's about that time. I really don't like traveling in the winter, but as you can see, the roads are pretty clear today. The skies are clear. Right now it says it's -7 out there, Celsius. So, not the best, but not the worst. This week it's been -15, -18. With wind chill, it says it feels like -25. So right now, I'll take -7. I have an ND16 on the Osmo Nano here. So you saw a sequence of shots there with my new camera. Not the Osmo Nano. Now we're on the Osmo Nano, but any guesses what the new camera is? Okay, I'm going to tell you. It is the Osmo Pocket 3. So it's new to me, obviously. I did buy it new. Ordered it on Amazon. And that was after I returned the Action 6. I'm still waiting on the credit for the Action 6, but that should be along anytime soon. I pushed it as long as possible. I was down to the last few days before they would accept the return for the Action 6, but honestly, like I had mentioned, well, actually I didn't mention, I recorded the video, but I never posted it. The Action 6 just didn't cut it for me. It was a good camera for a lot of people, I'm sure, but for me, with the HDR kind of effects that you get on the tree line, you know, that kind of haloing effect, the noise in the shadowed areas was just too much for me. And the square sensor, I never really got much advantage there. If I do want to shoot vertical content, which I rarely do, the 4:3 aspect ratio is plenty enough for that. Now, what else? The other thing is, because I own the Osmo Nano, it's a much better image for me, I find. I like the field of view a little bit better, and the different ways that you can mount it, the POV types of shots you can get. Mounting it in the car like this is great. I guess that's about the same as the Action 6, but I still like the field of view better on this one. It's just slightly different, but I'm just so picky when it comes to things like that. And the color science. Like I say, I don't really have that HDR issue with the Osmo Nano, but I had it plenty with the Action 6. I just couldn't seem to get rid of it in the scenarios that I shot. Not to say that you can't get a good image with the Action 6. Some people do. A lot of people do, I guess. But it's just inconsistent for me. I can get a good image sometimes, but then the next time I go out, it just looks bad. And I literally am a professional. I've done videography for a living for very many years. Been paid on projects for Netflix, for Sony Pictures, for Disney, Freeform, and it just doesn't make sense that I can't get a decent image out of the Action 6 consistently, so it had to go back. Anyway, I'm on the Osmo Nano, like I said. I'm quite happy with that for these types of shots. I'm gonna really play with the Osmo Pocket 3 a lot more and see the kinds of footage that I can get. Now, one thing I did find is that it's just not actually good for this type of setup. Or if I have the Osmo Nano, I'm gonna shoot with that in a car, a vlogging kind of setup like this. Definitely I'll do that first. If all I had was the Osmo Pocket, it can be done. I do have a little mount for it that I bought off of Amazon. I'll include a link for that in the description below as well. It's really the ideal one because it gives you that magnetic kind of tilt. I mean, it's a tilt on the back of the camera that you can then set this this mount down on a desk. It'll hold the camera like that. It can hold it up against a fridge or a pole. But it also has, which is unique to this one, all the other ones I looked at didn't have this option, where it has the GoPro connector on the back as well. So that way I can mount it easily with my suction cup mount that I have. So that's kind of the reason why I went with this one. It is very solid. It is not like an alloy or anything. It is just a plastic, but that kind of works as an advantage for me because it just keeps the whole rig light the way it's supposed to be. Which is also why when I got the Osmo Pocket 3, I did not go for the full creator combo. I do already have a microphone, like multiple DJI mic minis, so I didn't need that part of it. The extended battery, nice idea, but it adds like that much to the handle. So eventually you feel like you're walking around with a broom pole. And yeah, the length was just too long for that. And that's what she said. I just want to keep the whole rig nice and small and lightweight so that I can use it in a lot more situations and not draw attention to it either. I like that aspect of the Pocket 3 and the Osmo Nano. I mean, you can't get any smaller than that, really. Like that's amazing for that. So between those two cameras, I'm really set up for a lot of kind of stealth shooting, and they look very cinematic with the larger sensor size of the Pocket 3. I'm finding I can shoot indoors really easily, and when there is a grain, it's a pleasing grain to me. It looks like a film grain, so I'm fine with that. But if you pay attention to your conditions and your settings in those low light environments, you can get pretty much a noise-free image anyway with the Pocket 3. Definitely not with the Osmo Nano. It is a little bit weak in that regard, but that's not what it's for. Now, I did also, for the Pocket 3, I got the ND filter kit from K&F Concept. And I'm quite happy with that so far. The advantage of that particular one that I got, and I'll include a link to that in the description as well, is that it's magnetic and it's the thinner form factor. So the Osmo Pocket 3 can actually shut down and collapse the way it's supposed to without having to take off the ND filter, because I've heard horror stories where people have the, I don't know which models they have, just different ND filters that are larger, and when they go to shut it down, it kind of either gets stuck or knocks the ND filter off, and then you drop it and you're going to scratch it and the rest of that. So I don't want any of that. So my ND filter kit comes with ND 16, 64, and 128. So it's pretty aggressive, but I guess, you know, the thinking is that if you don't really need, if you're kind of in question for ND filter and you're just using ND8, don't even bother. If you need it, then go to ND16 and then ramp it up from there. The other thing that it has in this kit, because it's a 4 filter kit, and the 4th one is this CPL filter. So it's variable. It has a little ring on it. And I actually thought that maybe that one would be a little bit thicker, but it's not. It's just as thin as the rest of the NDs. So that is quite pleasing as well. I haven't gotten to use the CPL filter. I did put it on and just kind of look at it through the window in my house. So I haven't used it in real world scenarios yet, but that's to come in a future video. So all those Telesin accessories that they had sent me, I'll be able to use like the little case, I guess, still for the Osmo Nano. The ND filters and all that, unfortunately, I'm just not going to be able to use it because I don't have the Action 6 anymore. So that's a little disappointing. I did get to put out a couple of videos on that, thankfully, because they did send me the product for free, and I really appreciate that. So I apologize to everyone for the lack of videos coming on that, but I did want to let you know my reasoning for getting rid of the Action 6. I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from from getting the Action 6, or I'm not trying to convince anyone to return their Action 6. It's just, these are the reasons that I didn't keep it. Also, it's just an advantage that I have the Osmo Nano, which is a great camera, very fun to use. That's the big thing. I have a Sony FX30, I have an A7S II full frame camera. I've got some good lenses. I've had many different cameras over the years, big cinema cameras that have cost, you know, well over $10,000, which is not a lot compared to some of the other people that I know in my industry. But I'm really happy with the gear that I have right now. So a couple smaller cameras and my solid FX30 for a little more serious stuff. But 80 to 90% of what I shoot these days is on these little cameras for my YouTube content, because they're just so much easier. There's a big difference when you are shooting yourself. This is a huge thing that people that are in the industry, my industry, the film industry, have to learn, is that when you turn the camera onto yourself, you gotta dumb it down. And if that's at the sacrifice of a little bit of quality, then so be it, because wow, it is just too difficult to do all the things that we normally do, shooting everything in all manual, using matte boxes and swapping out lenses, and you know, to get our proper field of view, focus distances, all this kind of stuff that we have to consider. And then actually being the on-screen talent as well, it's really not an option. But these cameras work, so it's a completely different workflow. And really, content is king, and that's what it's all about. I love that these microphones connect flawlessly without the need for a receiver to the DJI Osmo products, because that makes things a lot easier too. I remember the early days of trying to shoot things with boom mics, and you know, you had to have a whole team to do anything. And if you ever tried to do anything on your own, it was either really crap quality audio and even the video, or you needed a team to do it. Anyway, back to what I'm doing here. I'm on the road still. I have, it says 33 minutes till I reach my destination, so I have been driving a while. I got up pretty early this morning. Not crazy early, I got up like 6:30. Took my time getting out of the house. And this trip is straight down the 401, which is really nice. And there's so many of these en routes. If you're from the States or, you know, not Ontario, they are kind of the pit stops along the way with restaurants, and it's usually like 5 or 6 different businesses in there, like coffee shop and, you know, maybe a Wendy's, or each one has slightly different things. So the great thing about this straight shot all the way down the 401, you got the multiple en routes, so you can just, you know, take a little pit stop if you need gas, or in this case I needed coffee, so I grabbed my Starbucks. All right, I got topped up on my coffee, and now back on the road. Are you sure?
In 400 meters, merge onto Ontario 401 East.
It's a really nice, simple drive, but your brain can completely shut off. And when you do that, you want to make sure that you're not going to miss your turn off when you need to do that. So I just put my GPS on, and that way if I kind of get in my head and I'm not paying attention, that it'll alert me that my exit's coming up. All right. Yeah, the mic seems a little hot. Belleville, 18 kilometers. At my rate of speed, it's gonna be 14 minutes to get to exactly where I'm trying to go. Okay, just thought I'd try something here. I noticed that my meter was pretty hot. Not just that it's hot, like when I'm not speaking at all, it's pretty hot, and all I'm doing is driving. So I figure there must be a lot of noise from the car that's coming into the microphone. So I thought I'd try with noise reduction. I literally never use noise reduction. I don't know what level this is set at. I'd have to look into the camera.
Take exit 544 for Ontario 37, Canopton Road toward Tweed.
Okay, so yeah, we're almost there. See what I mean? I'm talking and I'm just kind of in my head, and I could have potentially missed that turnoff. But thankful for GPS. Yeah, I'm wondering how the sound quality is with the noise reduction, because as I was saying before I got rudely interrupted, I never use noise reduction. So I haven't really had a need to, but this is probably a good scenario where I should use noise reduction. Okay.
In 300 meters, turn left onto Canopton Road, Ontario 37 South.
All right, welcome to bumfuck Idaho. You got a purty mouth. Always feels so cool with this car when it basically takes over your steering and keeps you in the lane. I still keep my hand on the wheel just in case. But I'm going straight through. Yeah. GPS says I'm going straight through the light here. The thing about Belleville is it's kind of a town stuck in time. There's this little pizzeria over here, Tina's Pizzeria. It's kind of cool. They have these little mom and pop things, T&T Mechanics, auto repairs. Like everything's mom and pop. Not everything. There's a lot of big box and corporate crap, like every town, but you will find a lot of stuff that just doesn't change. Which is a pretty good thing these days, because my daughter said something last night at dinner that she said it in a positive tone, like she wasn't like depressed about it or whatever, but it's kind of alarming. So we're all giggling and laughing at the dinner table, and she's talking about if you had the ability to travel through time, I asked, well, which way would you go? Would you go into the past or into the future? And she said immediately, like, well, definitely the past, because I have no hope for the future. It's like,
at the light, turn right onto Station Street, Ontario 37 South, then turn left onto Albion Street.
It's a little depressing if you think too hard about it. But for her, Gen Z, this is just kind of a reality.